Hello everyone. I got lazy, so today I will not even edit the video, so you're gonna get a full freestyle of me talking, and this time it's gonna be in English because after the first video I felt like maybe English would be a better language to communicate, to have a larger amount of people, The last video has currently 0 views, but also for myself to kind of practice my English. I also find it more interesting because all of the content I've been consuming is in English, in particular about stocks and the market and stuff like this. When I started last month, I was kind of determined to post every day, or not every day, but more like every week, at least weekly, but then I got busy, life got in the middle, I got work, I got class, I got other things, and I was also crying because of my losses. And about that, we'll get about it a little bit later. So, as always, the setup is the usual one, my face, because I'm still embarrassed, a little script, and right here I have Nibius, something I'll talk about later. So, last month, what happened? I showed you a couple of stocks I decided to pick, and after that I decided to get into rare minerals that I wrote here. I felt like I found the new secret, rare minerals. There was a little complicated situation between the USA and China. China decided that they would make it harder to export some particular minerals abroad. In particular, it would have affected the United States. I felt like at the time it would have been interesting to put some money into American companies who were pretty much not existent aside for a couple like energy fuels, but I decided to pick a couple of stocks like Water Resources because in my idea the government would have pushed those stocks to grow faster and faster to kind of make up for the missing part coming that would have probably not came from China. In the end, it wasn't true at all. They got a deal. Was it actually a deal? I'm not very sure about it. However, I also realized that all that sector about critical rare earths, rare minerals and stuff like this was already overhyped. It already, at the time, 1 month ago, it grew. I feel like in the last 6 months, something like that, was like 150% on some stocks. So I was kind of late to the party, and as a matter of fact, from the moment I put my money in it, it started dropping. After that, always kind of in the same field, we got with Australia. If things with China were not going that well and things in the US were still too slow, and there was probably also not enough material in the United States and refineries and stuff and those kind of things, Australia was a very good candidate. And there was also a couple of deals between Australia and Donald Trump. Same thing, in the moment I put my money into that, it completely went down because again, the market was already hyped, overhyped, the people were already starting to sell, and I kind of learned the fact that you have to buy the rumor and sell the news. And when I was buying these rare minerals, the news was already out, so probably it was kind of late. However, while crying for my losses, something like I lost at 20% maybe, I got to know about BYND, Beyond Meat. And for everyone who's a little bit into this world, they know about Beyond Meat and what's happening. Long story short, the company was completely failing, and one particular man before Reddit and after on Twitter, he moved on Twitter, called Capybara, he started pushing a lot of this movement, the idea that BYND, it could have been a new GameStop maybe 4 or 5 years ago now, that had this amazing, incredible short squeeze, given by the fact that there was a lot of people, banks and hedge funds who were shorting this particular stock, and the retail decided to buy and not sell, and this created some imbalances. I don't really know the details, however the people were talking about it, and that was good. On Friday, on a particular Friday, it was at 50 cents. I got in on Tuesday Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday maybe, and when I got in, it was at $2, and on Wednesday, the day after, it hit $7. Was it a short squeeze? I don't know. Probably not. Probably it was just a big meme that people were pushing it. There was a lot of hype around it, but in the end, after 1 month, there was no real short squeeze. After that particular day, it hit kind of $7, $8, almost $9. It just kept going down and down and down. And on Reddit and Twitter, there's still a lot of bag holders and people hoping for a real short squeeze. What was my situation? I bought at around $2. No, maybe more, something like 3, 4, because I'm buying with euro instead of dollars. And in front of my eyes, I saw it grow so rapidly. Something around 150%. I had 150% gains, and I was looking at the app on my phone during that moment, and it kept just growing and growing and growing. I could have gotten out with more than 150% returns, which is something crazy for someone who was trading for only 1 week, 2 weeks. However, on my script here, I write about greed. Another lesson after buy the rumor and sell the news, another big lesson is greed. When I saw the number going up so fast, I kept thinking, it's gonna go up more, it's gonna go up more, it's gonna go up more. And when it hit the all-time high around, in euro, it was like €7, it started dropping. But I started thinking, this is only the beginning, and I didn't sell, and I didn't have a stop loss. However, that day I was working, spending time, doing my things, but I was always keeping myself updated on the price, and I saw it with my own eyes falling and falling. And from $8 it went to $7 and then to $6, and I was still thinking, it's okay, I'm still on profit. And however, it's gonna go up again, this is only the beginning. The American markets at the time, I think they still weren't open, so I kept holding and just looking at the price falling down and falling down and falling down for the whole, for myself, for me, because I'm on the other side of the world. It was evening, and it kept going down and down and down. I had a stop loss, and I got like a 40% gain, but in the greed of the moment, I just bought again. And so because of the high volume, high deltas and stuff, and more delta, I don't know about it, but if there's a very high volume for a particular stock and it's a moment where it's moving a lot, even if there's a particular price, you're gonna still have to buy it for a higher price. So my stop loss got hit, and so I bought again with all of the money I had invested, and all with my capital, my initial capital, and also with my profits. So I lost some shares, and it kept dropping and dropping and dropping. I went to sleep and I was on a loss, but I still kept holding instead of selling. And when I wake up, losing even more and even more and even more. And for a whole good week, I was a bag holder. A bag holder is someone who's holding a bag, someone who didn't get the gains, or someone who just is keeping a stock that is not going anywhere, it's only gonna go down. And I was hoping, I got into a couple of communities on Discord, on Reddit, on Twitter, and everyone was saying, the people in my same situation, it's gonna go up again, it's gonna go up again. If you look at the GameStop graph of the time, it went up again, it went up again, and it went up even more. So I kept holding, and I kept losing and losing and losing and losing. So my initial investment made a 150% gain. I lost all of my gain, and I also went down around another 50%. After 50%, here I wrote about acceptance. I just accepted it. I was starting, and I'm just started getting into this topic, the stocks and shares and companies and everything. And I just took it as a very big lesson. And in the end, I was pretty right. I was right to just sell and get out and do something else, because it kept just going down and down and down. I do have it here. Yes, here is it. it just kept going down and down and down and down, and there's nothing to do about it. I don't think we're gonna see a short squeeze. This stuff is almost 3 weeks old, the hype is over, and so many things happened in the market in the meantime. The shutdown from the American government is over, but nothing happened. There was no short squeeze, and I don't think there will be a short squeeze, but who knows? If it's gonna happen, I'm gonna cry a lot, definitely. So I accepted it and decided to make my money back. I was thinking, why not? I did it once, maybe I can do it again, and then again and again. And so in the same way I discovered bynd, Beyond Meat, which was on different subreddits and on Twitter, I started just following penny stocks and meme stocks, and everyone was looking for the new Beyond Meat. And so there was the bioscience stuff, and there was the biotechnology, and there was another couple of penny stocks ranging from 50 cents to $3. However, every time I decided to buy, I was late. The pump had already pumped. It was too late. The hype was gone. The people made their money and were already selling. The people, I suppose the hedge funds or who else, or the people inside of it. I don't think the small retailers can really do easily money. If you're lucky, like it happened with Beyond Meat, like for me, like it could have happened for myself, yes, if I would have sold. However, I lost more money. I lost another 30% probably of my initial capital on meme stocks and different pump and dumps, probably 3 or 4. And again, buy the rumor, sell the news. So I was late. If you read about it on Reddit, and a lot of people are writing about it on Reddit, it's probably already too late. They're trying to capitalize, or they're trying to make you, there's a mosquito. They're trying to use you as exit liquidity, which means you're gonna buy so they can sell. And this was it. This was very important because these were three weeks, I would say so. 3 pretty interesting weeks. I learned a lot. I learned about myself, my personality, how do I see the stocks, and all of this kind of stuff. And so I decided to start again. No new capital, only using what little I have left from my initial capital, which is very little, but it's still an opportunity to learn and to see what's going on. So I decided, which is one of the things that I think is important. A lot of people hate them, which are options. And I didn't know anything about options, so I watched some videos, read some stuff, couple of articles on Substack from people who say to know better. So there's puts, there's calls. I'm not gonna explain you. It's simply just take it as a way to make more money faster, but also lose it even faster. Calls and longs are if you're hoping that the stock is gonna go up, you can kind of have more leverage. If the stock goes up 20%, using calls and puts, you can maybe do a 40, a 60, and 80% in the meantime. But if it go down 20%, you're gonna go down 20, 40, 60. And puts and shorts are the same thing, but for the opposite. If you think, which is very interesting, if you think the stock is gonna go down, you can kind of do the reverse. For how much the stock will go down, your own put or short will go up in the same way or even more with more leverage and everything. Very rewarding, but extremely risky. So I decided to try it on Nebius. Nebius is a big European company. European, I'm not very sure, because actually I read that before it was Russian, but then it kind of got dismantled because of the war and they moved to Europe and they're not doing crypto anymore. No, I don't think they were doing crypto before. However, they're doing data center stuff behind AI, which I was thinking, this is pretty cool, you know? And the earnings were coming and they were looking very good. The company was working very well. So I got calls on Nebius, hoping that Nebius would go up maybe a 5% and I could also go up a 20%, a 25%, because I was able to control more shares. but in the end it went down. So the earnings were pretty good, not perfect, because from what I've understood, the company reached the max capacity. They had a particular provision about how much money they could have made during this quarter, but the capacity was not enough, so they weren't able to reach it. And that also doesn't matter, because in the end the whole market was down, so there's not a lot to make about it. So even if the earnings were good, the stock went down, and as I had calls which are based on leverage, I lost even more. I didn't only lose an 8%, I lost something like another 30%. And so from the beginning of this video, I've only been losing 30 and then 30 and then 30. So still not at zero, but almost. So I decided to use a new technique, do the opposite of what I'm thinking. So instead of doing calls on Nebius, which is an amazing company, from the data and from what they're doing and from the particular historical time we're living, Nebius should be a company who should only pump and go up. Has been going down, so I decided to buy puts, which are the opposite. I hope the company will go down so I can get profit from it. Why I'm doing this, I don't know. This is just simply the market is doing this. So Nebius, again, I was late to the party. If instead of looking only at the last 1 month or 5 days like in here, I would have looked more. I did it, but I didn't give to it enough importance about the last 6 months or 1 year. I could have noticed that the company already growth like 300% in 1 year, which from what I understand, it's not sustainable, because that's not real gain. There's no real value by just being hyped by part of the retail and part from the hedge funds. And currently my puts are in a positive, not because of Nebius in particular, but because the whole market is down. Even the S&P 500, SPY, and the Nasdaq 100 yesterday went down like 2% in 1 day, which is pretty big, which is a lot compared to how they go up and down usually. So it's good. I have making money finally from the beginning of bynd, from 4 weeks ago. Finally my graph is going up a little bit. I can also show you. And so it was interesting. I did learn a lot, in particular about myself, about greed. I learned that if I have some profit, I should just take it and not keep waiting. I learned that if I'm into it to make some fast profit, I shouldn't become a bag holder. If I get some losses and this is not going anywhere, I should just accept the losses and try to look into something else. This is very bad for the real investors, the value investors, the people who tell you about just put it in the market, in the S&P 500. But for the moment, I'm still looking into learning as much as possible and maybe making some profit. I need to make a lot of profit, however, to make up for my losses. I didn't put all of my savings into this experiment, but I would like to make it back. It's still gonna take time, but even if I would lose everything, there's still some very valuable lessons, I feel like. And this was it. The market is going down. There's a very bearish sentiment. Bearish as in bear, which I learned it means when the market is going down. And this is it. I don't have anything particular. Here you can see some green numbers, maybe not very nicely, but I'm up 60%, 61% on my puts, but my initial investment was pretty small, so it's nothing particular. And now I'm thinking about, actually, I could add it here, short Nasdaq 100. This is the last crazy idea. Yesterday the Nasdaq went down 2.6%, and what if it does it again? What if this time I go with a X20 leverage or X40 leverage, which means or I make all of my money back or I lose all of my capital that the little capital I still have. I'm not very sure. I'll work, and after that I'll try to look a little bit and decide what to do, but this is very risky also because on a Friday there's the whole weekend, and then on Monday the situation could be different. The thing that really struck me actually was the here I wrote about market overview, but it's particular one thing. In the United States, there was a shutdown. Why? I don't know, but it's a pretty big thing. It means all the federal workers were not getting paid for the last 40 days. And 2 days ago, yesterday, 2 days ago, it was over. There was no more shutdown. The people were getting paid again. And so I was thinking about a new raise, a new rally, but nothing. It was the worst day for the market in different months. So I'm not very sure about this move. This is extremely risky, and this is completely against what I've been learning in the last month. So I will probably not do it. However, I'm still keeping an eye on Nebius. The more it goes down, the more I'm happy. And that's it. Thank you for who's gonna see it. I'll try to post more often, also for myself. I think it's good.